Why can't I see? I understand, thank you. All right. Welcome to the January 19th, 2022 Personnel Committee meeting. Mr. Heckman is not here. Is he on the phone? Okay. Do you have courtesy of the floor on personnel matters? Seeing none, hearing none, let's do the review of the county executive appointments and reappointments. First is for the Conservation District Board, Mr. John Mauser from Bangor, Pennsylvania, considered to fulfill the term of Lynn Stauffer, who resigned. His term is to begin on council's approval and end on December 31st, 2024. Any questions or discussions regarding this? Yes.
I just want to say that I've served with John Mauser in many other capacities, and I think he would be a real asset to the Conservation Districts Board, and I'm definitely ready to say yes to him.
Any other?
Motion to move.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Next, we have a recommendation for reappointment, same board, Jeffrey Kiefer, Bangor, Pennsylvania, considered for a 4-year term to begin January 20th, 2022, and to end December 31st, 2025. Nominated by Northampton, Lehigh Carbon Monroe Farm Service Agency for a reappointment. Any questions or comments? Yes, Tara?
I would also like to say that I've served on this board with Jeffrey Kiefer, Mr. Kiefer, for 4 years, and he also is an asset, and I'm very grateful that he's wanted to reappoint. He's game for reappointment. Thank you.
Motion to move forward?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Appointment to the Drug and Alcohol Advisory Board, Thomas Cotter, Easton, Pennsylvania, being considered for a 2-year term, which will begin on January 21st, 2022, and end on June 30th, 2023. Any comments, questions?
Motion moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Move forward. Second recommendation to the appointment to the Drug and Alcohol Advisory Board, Nancy Roberts Dinel, Easton, Pennsylvania, considered for a 2-year term, which will begin on January 21st, 2022, and end on June 30th, 2023.
Oh, yeah. I know this one. Motion.
Tom,
Tom. You get a second?
do you second?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
Next, we have a recommendation for appointment to the Election Commission, Democrat, submitting Margie DeRenzis, Easton, Pennsylvania. Ms. DeRenzis is a registered Democrat, being considered for a 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2020, and end December 31st, 2023.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Next, appointment to the same board, Selena Winchester, Easton, PA, registered Democrat, being considered for a 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2022, and to end December 31st, 2023.
Motion.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Does she work for Congress? Sorry, does she work for Congresswoman Wild?
I believe that she does.
Is there some, I don't know if there's a conflict there, or it does pose an interesting question, particularly when her boss is on the ballot. So I don't necessarily know how it works, but I'm not going to be supporting this one. She may be qualified, but on the basis of that, I won't be supporting it. Thank you.
Is there a way we could review that before tomorrow evening?
No, I mean, it just,
I mean,
that's
would
just
that not
my
be-
personal feelings in the matter. I think if you're working for somebody who's on the ballot, it may be legal, perfectly legal, and it probably is, but I just have personally, I won't be supporting it, so
Okay.
that's all.
Okay, we could check if there's any preclusion to that. Otherwise, are we moving it forward, or,
I said motion.
wait for a second, thank you. Next, submission to the reappointment to the election board, Daniel P. Lepresti, Hellertown, Pennsylvania. Mr. Lepresti is a registered Democrat, considered for a 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2022, and to end December 31st, 2023. Any questions?
Wow.
I-
Doctorate from Princeton.
From Lehigh.
It's
No, he's a
impressive.
doctorate from Princeton, but he works for
He's at Lehigh. As much as
Yeah.
I don't want to make that motion, I'll make it as a Lafayette guy.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you.
He's more, wow.
Can I ask a question of Mr. McClure? Is there a reason we have no Republicans as of yet, or they just haven't submitted their names?
No, my understanding is we sent the nominations for the Republicans over.
To whom?
These are the only ones that we received? Because I realize everybody's like, well, why are they all, you know?
Right, no, we have them. We have them.
All right, I'll move on, and then if we can get them in before the.
Yep.
Recommendation for an appointment to the Gracedale Advisory Board. The following individual for appointment is Linda M. Senick, Easton, PA, considered for a 2-year term to begin the 21st of January, 2022, and end April 19th, 2023.
This is one page,
Well,
and it's impressive. Wow. Motion. Second.
thank you. Also, appointment to the Gracedale Advisory Board, Elaine Reynolds, Easton, PA. Dr. Reynolds is being considered for a 2-year term, January 21st, 2022, and April 19th, 2023.
I know Elaine Reynolds very well. Spent many years working with her at Lafayette. She'd be an asset to anything she wants to put herself into. I
Okay.
make a motion, we recommend. Second.
Thank you. Next appointment is Martha Salata, Easton, Pennsylvania. Ms. Salata is being considered for a 2-year term beginning January 21st, 2022, and end April 19th, 2023.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Appointment to the Jail Advisory Board, Baron Vanderberg, Easton, PA, considered for 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2022, and to end December 31st, 2023.
Mr. Vandenberg was also a Eastern School Board Director, a member of Greater Shiloh, and he does a lot within the community. I think he'd be an asset to anything.
Oh, is he one of the,
He's one of the Vandenbergs, yes.
okay, is that a,
Motion.
thank you,
Second.
thank you. Recommendation for reappointment to the Lehigh and Northampton Transportation Authority, Fred Williams, Easton, PA. Mr. Williams is considered for a 5-year term to begin May 3rd, 2022, and end March 2nd, 2027.
Fred Williams. Motion. Second.
Thank you.
Known him forever.
Second, Atlanta appointment, Jessica Cope, North Catasauqua. Oh, I'm so sorry. Recommendation for appointment, Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, elected official, Jessica Cope, North Catasauqua, PA, considered for a 1-year term, January 1st, 2022, and end December 31st, 2022.
Is there any reason why it's a 1 year?
She's filling out an unexpired term.
That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Next, Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, appointment for a citizen, William McGee, Northampton, Pennsylvania,
Do we really?
4-year term to begin January 20th, 2022, and to end December 31st, 2025.
Do we really need negotiation
Anybody want to say
on
a
that?
bad word about Bill in front of me?
Yeah, you know, it's Billy.
I don't think
Motion.
so.
Second.
Tripled. Recommendation for a reappointment as council liaison to Lehigh Valley, reappointment? Appointment to council liaison.
Appointment. Why is it a reappointment?
It
No,
sh-
it's an appointment. I
It
think.
should be an appointment, it's a new person, correct?
Mr. McClure?
Recommendation for appointment as council liaison to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission Board. It says appointment and they
No,
wrote in Reed, but
citizens
it's not a Reed, she's
representative.
new.
Yes,
It's appointment,
appointment.
thank
The
you.
re needs to be taken out.
Yes. Well, it wasn't there, so just ignore it. Tara Zirinsky, council member, 1-year term, January 20th, 2022, to end December 31st, 2022.
I gotta think about that, madam.
Is this a reappointment?
Motion.
I just want to
No,
say
it's
on
an
my
appointment.
behalf that I'm very grateful to have this consideration. And I know that the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission is going to start their environmental action.
I'm sure you do a wonderful job.
Yeah, and that's why I'm very interested in this, so thank you very much.
We have a motion.
for action.
Second.
Thank you. Recommendation for reappointment to the Personnel Commission, Lisa Youngkin Rex, Easton, Pennsylvania, 2-year term.
She's an HR person from Lafayette College. I recommend.
Did
and
you
I
put all these
motion.
people forward? Because they're all got a connection somehow to Easton and you.
Yeah.
January
Motion.
21st, 2022, and December 31st, 2023. Motion?
Second.
Thank you. I think that does it. We have a review of the district attorney's personnel requests. All right. Is he here or someone from his office here?
That's a very good question. He's not here?
He is not here. They are seeking to upgrade executive secretary pay grade, CS 19-3C, salary $45,911, upgraded to CS 19-4D, salary $47,977, effective Friday. Full-time position of district attorney, pay grade CEO 3C, salary $69,481, upgraded to CEO 3-4D, salary $72,607, effective Friday. Resolved that County Council, 1 full-time position of assistant district attorney, pay grade CEO 3-4D, salary $72,607, upgraded to $75,875, effective Friday. Finally, 5 full-time positions, pay grade CE 03-2B, salary $66,489, upgraded to CEO 3-3C, $69,400. That should not be right. There's no upgrade. That's incorrect. Oh, $69,481, sorry. And effective Friday. He is not here to address this. So,
Can we move this forward with an explanation for him tomorrow to be here to explain?
was he, or anybody from his
there
office
a
asked to be
request?
here?
Can we request someone be here to explain this?
Yeah. I think there's one main question, and I think it was,
I'm looking at this.
my understanding is that it's
Coming out of his own money,
Hang
if
on,
I'm not
let me see.
mistaken, right?
on the last page. Here. Total amount of increase would be $23,000. Office of District Attorney has ample monies in its budget to cover these increases, so it's a
Coming out of his-
shift, not an increase.
He's coming out of his own thing. Motion moved then.
Second.
Do you still want him here tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
As
And
to why we're getting this, my question is, why is this doing, what's going on with this? Why is it now? When we had a budget meeting.
okay, with that, we'll adjourn, any other business, we'll adjourn the personnel portion, and we'll move into the Finance Committee, any courtesy of the floor. We have controllers' reports, Mr. Saborski.
I have a number of reports to review. I'll try to be brief, consolidate a few of them. John, did you get your?
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry, did we get those things?
Well, that's what I wanted to see.
No, I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
haven't.
going to check on that.
All right, We did a number of reports. The first one was an audit of the financial audit of the Conservation District, if I may. We have audited the statements of revenue and expenditures of the Conservation District of the county for the year ended December 31st, 2020, and their related notes to the financial statements. Now, this is a financial audit that is done every year. The financial statement was prepared for the purpose of complying with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania State Conservation Commission reporting requirements. This is a request of the Conservation District Board that this audit be done by a CPA. Luckily, we do have a CPA in our office. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the statement of revenue and expenditures of the district in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States. That concludes my report for that one.
Any questions? Okay, moving on.
The next one, we did a financial audit of Magisterial District Court 03-2-10, Nancy Matos Gonzalez, for the year ending December 31st, 2019 and 2020. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the statement of changes in assets and liabilities, cash basis, as of December 31st, 2019 and 2020, in accordance with the cash basis of accounting. That concludes that report.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, just a
Yes.
quick one on that. When an MDJ retires, you have to do one as
An audit,
well.
yes.
Will another one be done?
I believe
for-
so.
Okay.
All right, the next one, I'm going to combine a couple of them because this is for hotel room rental tax remittances. Now, what we look for, I'll give you a little background. We have 5 things we look for in our procedures. First is obtaining 2 years of tax remittance from the county's revenue division, inspect them to determine whether the operator is using the latest forms of the remittance form and if it was completed in a proper and accurate manner. Second, we interview hotel management to gain their understanding of their operation accounting process. Third, we inspect the operator's financial reports to verify the accuracy of the remittance forms and compliance with rules and regulations. Fourth, we investigate the validity of claimed permanent and non-permanent exemptions by testing a sample not to exceed 50. And lastly, we calculate any additional taxes owed or refunded to the operator. We audited the Quality Inn in Easton. We recalculated all remittance forms submitted during the period and all exemption forms and found the hotel understated taxable room revenue in 3 of the 24 months by claiming invalid exemptions. We tested 16 exemptions taken by the hotel operator and found 8 were invalid as the guests were not affiliated exempt organizations. We determined the Quality Inn of Easton owes the county $147.57 in additional taxes and penalties. Then the Hampton Inn and Suites in Bethlehem, we reviewed 50 exemptions taken over the 2 years period and tested them. The hotel overstated allowable exemptions by $525 in 2019 and $220 in 2020. We determined the Hampton Inn and Suites at Bethlehem owes the county $378.98 in additional taxes and penalties. Then we did the Hampton Inn in Easton. We tested 50 exemptions, 25 were valid. 15 did not have the proper documentation to support the exemption, and 10 were for religious organizations which are not exempt. We determined the Hampton Inn Easton owes the county $205.46 in hotel room tax. Now, this amount has already been paid. Has been paid. A few of these, we send the report. Once they get our report, they see that they owe money, and they send the money to the county. The Holiday Inn Express in Palmer, we reviewed a sample of 26 unique exemptions. Exemptions for a long-term guest taken for more than 1 month are considered the same unique exemptions for testing purposes. We taken over the hotel operator over the 2 years period, tested on documentation the hotel manager was able to locate. The hotel overstated allowable exemptions by $14,603 in 2019 and by $7,729 in 2020. We determined the Holiday Inn Express Palmer owes the county $1,306.21 in additional taxes and penalties. And again, this amount has already been paid. Then we did the Hotel Bethlehem. We recalculated all remittance forms submitted during the period and compared revenue on their financial statements to remittance forms and found in January 2019, The operator overpaid tax by $27 due to a mathematical error. In November 2020, the hotel underestimated exemptions by $90, resulting in overpayment of hotel tax. The hotel unreported taxable room revenue in 19 months, failing to report $42,456 of no-show revenue in 2019 and 2020. We determined the Hotel Bethlehem owes the county $1,888.77 in hotel room tax and penalties. And again, this amount has since been paid. In addition, we audited 6 properties which report less than $80,000 annually in hotel tax. So we do not do on-site visits for these. We ask them to send us their information. Those were the Nazareth Motel, the Classic Victorian B&B, the Filbert Bread and Breakfast, the Bethlehem Inn, the Barnhouse Village, and Camp Charles Campground. The Camp Charles Campground reasonably stated their hotel tax for 2019, but they unreported their revenue in 2020 and owes the county $149.04. The Classic Victorian B&B overreported their revenue in 2019 and underreported their revenue in 2020. The Classic Victorian B&B has accredited the amount of $26.24, which they can use as a deduction on their next hotel room revenue report. Finally, the Bethlehem Inn closed their establishment, therefore no audit was performed. We conducted this agreed-upon procedures engagement in accordance with general accepted government accounting standards. That concludes the hotel tax report.
Okay.
Yes?
Thank you. Are there any questions?
You mentioned that on one of them, you were talking about that a church had something and they were not.
Yes. Now, a church could be exempt from sales tax, but they're not exempt from the revenue of the hotel tax. What I found is a lot of these errors, a lot of new people or young people working in a hotel front desk. Somebody comes up and checks in the room and said, I'm tax exempt. The clerk doesn't argue with them. They said, okay, and they take the deduction, and we come along, we find out they're not exempt. I think that's where a lot of these come from.
I got 2 of the same one. Not up twice. Oh,
Any other questions for Mr. Saborski? Yes, Mr. Fuser.
Yeah, just back to the Hotel Bethlehem. There seemed to be a consistent underreporting. Was there something you could attribute that to? Because it appears to be consistent for each month.
I don't know. It could be the staff is not qualified. They don't know what they're doing. It could be a number of reasons.
Okay.
I don't know. I doubt it's intentional because they know we're going to catch up with them sooner or later.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I think my question is more, was there something consistent within the data where they were missing an exemption or something? Because the pattern is consistent for almost an entire year and a half. So that would lend me to believe that there might be something systemic in their reporting that they should address.
Well, I can check with the auditor who did the work and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that?
I had a question.
Yes.
Or maybe a two-parter. So how long do they have to pay once, because obviously some people are prompt, but others are less so. So how long do they have, and who monitors whether they've complied or not?
From
Is
what
it your
I've
office or is it a different office?
let me check with my mentor. And what it seems to me is the larger amounts pay them right away. The smaller amounts, we're still waiting. Go ahead.
So most of these checks or the money that comes in for these exemptions or whatever, when you have these checks that come in, a lot of the exemptions are in the computer system. They can't validate, and for most businesses, they just pay it. And then they modify their computer system. That's sort of the Hotel Bethlehem issue. Larger amounts tend to come in from the larger hotels. The smaller mom and pop shops do not have as many hotel rooms or do not have the revenue and are just really trying to keep their head above water. We'll pay it off over a period of time. Nancy Poplowski is very flexible with them once we realize there's a problem. And we're not fast to revoke hotel licenses in that vein, as long as they're willing to work with us.
But who is she, Steve? Is she in your office or is she in his office?
So
or-
Nancy is actually the head of revenue. So
Okay.
she is the one that actually will collect the money, bring it in, and code it accordingly.
And are these just, I mean, I don't know how to ask this other than straightforward. Are these just simple errors, or are there some people that are constant offenders? Or is it,
So-
is it personnel or people that are checking
When-
people in? Is it just
There are some people who are particularly, they will charge, there were cases in the past where someone charged the fee and kept it for themselves as a profit, did not turn it in. Those were prosecuted criminally. As a matter of fact, my first year in the job, that was kind of what was going on with one hotel. However, most times it's confusion over the exemption or the system the hotelier is using to track the exemption, or if hotels change proprietors, meaning it has the same name but there's a different person that runs it, they might be new to Pennsylvania and may not be holding on to the right documentation. It takes them one audit to learn that, and then most times there are no issues going forward. But these hotels, like when they're in certain receiverships and those change quickly, that's when we end up having problems. That's a decade of history from what I've seen, as controller.
Any other questions?
Steve, I think the question was, who follows up to make sure they pay?
Oh, we actually will send them an invoice constantly. Like we
But
will
it
let
goes
them
from
know.
this report to revenue, and revenue will report back to you done or not, is
Right.
what I'm
yes,
hearing.
Our reports go to revenue, and we get a message from
And
them when it's paid.
Nancy sends an email directly to us that says this has been paid off. Most hotels pay it like right away when they see there's an issue.
And how are we doing with the Airbnbs or the VRBOs or any of those?
We get checks regularly, VRBO or VRBO, which is also hotel rooms, or VRBO is also like getaway.com or something. We don't have anything with VRBO. It's all through Airbnb. They collect the fee directly. We don't get to see specifically where it comes from, but you will note that on Airbnb and on some of those like hotels.com or whatever, we actually, if it's through a hotelier, we get the regular hotel tax through their system. Some hotels, like the Hotel Bethlehem, are on Airbnb for like longer term rentals or stays or whatever, and they might offer a preferred rate.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And then the last one is the tax billing audit. Did we do that?
Yes, no, not yet. The last one is an audit follow-up of the tax billing audit. It's the policy of our office to, as recommended by government accounting standards, to follow up on all audit report recommendations. Under the tax billing audit, we recommended that procedures related to the tax billing process be documented and included in the fiscal policies and procedures manual. The revenue manager recently provided us with a detailed procedures manual effective 8/1/21 that addresses all the areas noted in our audit. Since corrective action has been taken, no further follow-up is planned. That concludes my reports.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to do right now is take a pause in the finance meeting. I'd like to reopen the personnel committee meeting and review these two resumes. So we have two recommendations for appointment to the Election Commission, Republicans. The first is Scott Howe. Howe, is that how I say it? Howe, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, registered Republican, considered for a 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2022, and end December 31st, 2023. Questions or motion to move forward?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
It was my understanding that he dropped out of the recent race because he's moving to California. So is he not moving to California now?
I don't know the
Does
answer to that.
anybody know?
I don't know.
Can Scott Ho come here tomorrow and fill us in that he actually lives here?
I said he got from PA.
Can make the request.
I don't know they moved.
That's my request. Proof of residency in the county.
I was just going to ask the same thing. It was my understanding that he withdrew from the county council election last year based on his plans to move out of the area. And I was as shocked as you were to see this. So I think I would need some clarification as to where in fact he intends to reside. I know this is what, just a one-year appointment, but still, I think we need to hear from him personally as to where he intends to reside over the next year, based on his comments upon his withdrawal from the election last year.
And my understanding is that the party chairs nominate these folks for Mr. McClure's review, and then he just moves them forward. So these are the folks that the party submitted, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Does it have to be approved for us to bring him in by a committee member?
No, if he wants to be approved by this board, he needs to show it this
He needs
board.
to-
I don't think,
So we're not moving it forward until he makes an appearance? That's the question.
no, it's your choice to move it forward or not. If you'd like him to be here tomorrow night, you might want to move it forward to have him have a reason to be present.
That was my,
You know, and then tomorrow night you could vote him yes, no, or defer, I guess, if you want. So it's your choice.
It's on me to bring him.
what do you say, Tom G?
Yep, I think we should move forward to let him be here.
I'll second his motion,
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. And then we'll call him to.
and he needs to be here.
Yep.
Next, we have Vicky Everett, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, a registered Republican, considered for a 2-year term to begin January 21st, 2022, and end December 31st, 2023.
Wow. A brief resume, I like. Social work. Motion to move.
Second.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to re-adjourn the Personnel Committee. Thank you for that. Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you
these
for that.
over. And go back to the Finance Committee
Okay.
for the review of American Rescue Plan small business grants. Grant Review Committee comprised of staff convened to review and make funding recommendations totaling $863,076 for 67 projects attached. The resolution is to recommend the grants and authorize county executive to execute them. So,
Question?
yes.
How much longer are we going to leave this open? Because we've been doing this for quite a while. Is this the second or third dip of these people, Steve?
Some it is the first, some it is the second. We have we have a meeting scheduled in a week, I believe, or so, to clean up the list we have. And I know the committee was gonna have some discussions about the needs, how much money is left, but we do have some to clean up.
Okay. That answers my question.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
It's my understanding that the applications are still open on the chamber website. So how long are those applications going to be open that we're collecting them? Because then it seems like it's not just these people on the list, that there has to be like some other round.
So there's still some cleanup that needs to be done on.
And that's part of the cleanup?
Yeah, you got it.
So there's still an incredible need for support among our small businesses in Northampton County, because as you know, the pandemic is still with us. And even though we're not under any kind of lockdown or shutdown, you may have noticed in small businesses throughout the county, as I know you get around, people just aren't walking into them the way they once did. So there's still an incredible need. Although she couldn't physically be here with us tonight, Ms. O'Donnell is available by phone if council wishes to call her and put any of these questions to her, because I'm not actually out on the street. She's actually out there, and she can, if you need to make a record of the need that still exists out there. So we, at this juncture, and I'm going to let the committee meet and discuss and make recommendations to me. But tonight, as I stand here to you, there's still a lot of need out in the small business community, and I think we all need to continue to support them.
Mhm. And what's left in the pot?
So through 11, we had spent $10,928,750.62.
Say the last part again, Steve.
$10,928,705.
700 and what?
Five.
$705.62.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
So this $863,000 brings us to approximately, or just under $12 million. And there was a $15 million fund put forward. So for simple math, there's about $3 million left.
So, my other question was, when was the meeting held to vet these programs?
The ones that were there, it was done Thursday. Don't have my phone with me. Thursday.
It says March 11th.
No, it was actually.
No, I know, there's a committee that's supposed to be meeting on this, and they have different meeting times.
Gotcha.
It happened actually on Wednesday, January 5th, from 1 to 3.
Was anyone from council there?
No, they were invited.
All right, so I have one concern about that, is when we first started, we agreed that there were certain times that, I mean, for myself, I'll speak for me, nobody else is here from the committee, that I could make it certain times and I couldn't others. Now, I was out on leave at that time, so I wouldn't have made it anyway. But Wednesday was not a day that we said that we would be available, so I'm wondering why the day time was switched.
Honestly, this particular one was always on a Wednesday because it's been on my calendar, I believe, for a while. This was set up as a cleanup meeting. The people that were invited were obviously Brittany from the Chamber, Jessica O'Donnell, Mr. Heckman, you, Mrs. Hefner, Kevin Lott, Rebecca, Arlene was put on the list, Tina, Linda. We also sent it to your personal email address and Mr. Heckman's personal email address.
Right. And again, I was on leave, so I would not have come or participated.
Understood.
But I guess I would like to see council members back at those meetings. And again, if you're putting it on Wednesday, I'm not going to make it, so I'll put somebody else there. But we spoke to try to come up with times that we could at least most reasonably make it, and it seems to have moved from those spots. So I can only speak for myself.
We always let your staff know when those meetings are, and we have a very, very set rules. We have stuck with those rules for the new members of council. Mr. Gracedale is the only one here today. We didn't want to be subjective. We wanted to be as objective as possible. We have set rules. We do it on a first-come, first-served basis, $15,000 limit. We make sure the business is in the county and has been operating for a year. That's the general gist of it. There isn't much subjectivity that goes into it, other than like fraud triggers that we do have, and we've learned that as we've gone along through the process. Any council member is welcome to come and take part in those meetings. We do not keep them secret, and we invite your staff, so you can, we even make it, we have it at the Human Services Building, but we make it available via Zoom as well.
When we started the project, we appointed 3 people, we agreed to the process, and we agreed that the meetings would be Thursday afternoons or Fridays.
This one was actually on a Wednesday.
And
The
that's
committee
not a
had-
Thursday or a Friday.
Hold on. The committee had talked about it.
But the
And
committee, I think you're missing my point. I made my point, and my point is, I'd like to see them back when we originally tried to schedule them.
We
Because if
will,
nobody from council was there,
we will do our best. And there's actually been 2 meetings that council was not there.
We endeavor to be very transparent, and over the last 4 years have worked very hard at that. And despite there being separation of powers issues from the very beginning of the American Rescue Plan and the CARES funding, we've invited council to be part of this. 3 council members were invited to that meeting, and not one came.
right.
We can't order the whole world around all of these different people's schedules. So I appreciate your point of view, and we will continue to work very hard to make sure a council member or multiple council members are at these meetings. But we don't necessarily need to be lectured to about this when we have 3 council members invited to this meeting.
Right. And the point of having council there was so that we didn't have to have extraneous questions at these meetings. Because again, council members can't make it. Like, I'm owning my responsibility for not being there and why. I can't help what happened to me. But other people I can't speak for. I'm just hoping that in the future, I know I cannot wait a Wednesday meeting. I'm hoping we go back to some of the originally scheduled times. I don't know why it was shifted again. Maybe it was the end of the year or season, but if we're going to do this going forward, council wanted to be a part of it so that we could support and not have to re-vet all the choices that were made.
I understand your point of view, and we will work on our end to make sure that we endeavor to have the times that the most council members on the committee can make it.
Right.
We are not trying to avoid because quite frankly, there are still questions asked even after council members participated.
Right.
So there's still a number of questions asked when we bring these businesses forward who need such help. So it doesn't really shortcut the process, but I do think it's important from a transparency point of view to have council members there, and we'll make sure we endeavor to try and get council members there in the future.
And why I'm
And so-
saying that is because I'm sitting here today and I'm seeing names, and again, you said some of them are new, some of them are repeats. So I might want to know who some of the new ones are, because some of the ones that are repeats, are these a second pass? Are these a third? Are we giving third passes to anybody?
Nobody's gotten a third pass.
Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, my point was ignored. Any other questions? It's myself, Kevin Lott, and Ron Heckman. Any questions about any of the businesses? I do, but I think, any questions about any of the businesses, or do we have a recommendation to move forward? Any questions, any comments? Well,
No, just a comment, and I'd mentioned this before, I think that this program needs to start wrapping up. I don't want to give eternal life to this thing. We need to get on with opening these businesses up, patronizing them, and even consider, there's $3 million left over right now. I think consideration should be given to some of the county's other needs as well. So that's all.
agreed. Do we want a motion to move this forward?
So moved.
Second. Gracedale hazard pay. 25% hazard pay for qualifying shifts through the nursing home. Qualifying shifts will be determined by Gracedale administration based on the needs of the home. Guidance from Pennsylvania Department of Health and Human Services, effective February 1st until April 30th, 2022. Ms. Wondolowski.
Yes, thank you. We greatly appreciate this being able to be heard tonight. Ms. Stewart King would have been here, we thought it was on tomorrow's agenda until this morning, and so she unfortunately had some childcare issues, so she's dealing with that, and so I am here. And she and I and county exec and folks have talked about this a lot, and council reinstated hazard pay last year. We did it through December 31st. But in light of the surge of the Omicron variant, and of course the ongoing staffing challenges that are being seen nationwide, and also to encourage the vaccination, we are asking council to reinstate hazard pay at the same percentage, but for a shorter time period from February 1st to April 30th, I believe is what's on there.
What, remind me what the shifts are and how that works, please?
So currently, it has, from when we first instituted hazard pay, it modified, I think by July of last year when council reapproved it, and it would be very similar to that. Folks have to do a few things. They either have to work one extra 8-hour shift or 2 4-hour shifts per week, and they have to have no call-outs. And what we will be adding to that, and it's any shift that the home is in need of. So, primarily, of course, that's always 3 to 11, but there are absolutely some day shift options available as well, and weekends. And the third criteria this time around will be that folks have to be vaccinated. So we know that
Say that again.
folks have to be vaccinated.
In order to get this money.
Correct, in order to qualify for hazard pay. So we know that mandate is rolling around. The Supreme Court has decided there's no way around that. And so just as one final push to encourage the vaccine, at least folks would have some monetary compensation for that. So the vaccine incentive ended December 31st as well, so, which staff had known about.
What's the percentage?
It's 25%,
No, the percentage of
I'm
people
sorry.
who have been vaccinated at Gracedale.
about 81%.
Oh, that's a lot better than I
Is
thought
that
it was.
staff or residents?
It's 87? Okay.
For staff?
That's staff, and that's, and, no,
Let her
residents is,
say.
residents is a little higher. 92% about for residents. So staff has, we've improved dramatically on that vaccination rate, no doubt. And so we have one final push, and we have to get to 100%. So hoping this will help.
How much have we paid in Gracedale and hazard pay in the past year? Not
So-
2020, but
Okay. Well, I can tell you 2020. Well, let me tell you 2020 to current, and then I'll break it down from last year as well. So we've paid approximately $3.2 million from the inception of this in hazard pay. Sure.
And council, just so you know what you have done, nobody else in the Commonwealth has done that. Nobody. To the extent that we have. Nobody has invested money in the wages of their employees like Gracedale has throughout the entire state.
yes, sir.
Because I don't think, John Paul doesn't know, this money is rescue money that we're paying. It's not coming out of the tax base.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Were you finished?
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
No, it's okay. That's great.
Pardon me, it's important.
Yep, absolutely. So that was 2020, so that was the inception to present. During 2021, we paid almost $1.1 million in hazard pay. And then just for fun, October, November, December of 2021, we paid, which is included in the 1.1 million, we paid about $350,000 in the last 3 months in hazard pay.
Wow.
Any other questions for Ms. Wondolowski? Yes, Mr. Rinsky.
Yes, I have a question about
Sure.
the 87%.
Sure.
Is that number so high now because we had a number of people leave?
Well, we certainly have lost staff, and I asked that question because one of our thoughts was maybe a lot of the folks who weren't vaccinated and knew they weren't going to be left. And I think there's a mix. I don't have the exact breakdown. So that is part of it, but we still have about 70 nursing staff, I think, that have to be vaccinated.
Because that's
or staff
a
overall.
kind of a dramatic increase.
You know what, I think we were really sort of like, after we hit that, we sort of hit a plateau at about like 50 or 40 something, 50 something, and then we really started to kind of incrementally creep up. And so the number is somewhere over 80, I know that for sure. And then it actually goes up when you include our contracted employees, so our doctors, our nurse practitioners who come in. Most of those folks had to be vaccinated by their health networks already.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I've supported it in the past, and I'm hopeful that we continue to attract more staff there. One of the questions that's come up in the past is, well, since we are doing this for Gracedale, why can we not provide a similar opportunity for our corrections officials? And I guess that would be a question for the administration, because they will ask us.
Well, so we did. We did. When you may recall, we resolved a grievance that we didn't have to resolve, but, out of good faith, comedy, and goodwill to move forward, we resolved it, and the resolution was $500 for the hazard pay that they thought they were entitled to, which they weren't. But then an additional $500 on top of that for a total of $1,000 if they got vaccinated. About 50% of our COs took advantage of that. And let me just stop to editorialize for a second. And we have about 84 infections in the prison right now, and it's my view it's because we only have half of our COs vaccinated. And we even have a graph. I know correlation isn't causation, but we have a graph that shows when their infections go up, our inmate infections go up like this, every time. But anyway, I digress. So that $500 to get vaccinated was available until December 31st, per the agreement. That has gone away. I would be absolutely inclined to extend hazard pay to the COs right now if they could get to, say, 75% vaccinated of their number, and then pay the vaccinated. I'd do that. I think it's a great idea. I don't think they'll do it, but we can reach out to them and have that conversation. I think Mary Lou can, she's had species of those conversations with them already. But that's the answer, sir.
I'm just saying, it's probably coming at some point to us.
Well, I don't know, because my answer is get vaccinated. That's my answer. I mean, you have a known hazard. You have the known ability to keep yourself out of the hospital and from dying. And so you're voluntarily going into the hazard. Get vaccinated.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is that we've obviously had many vaccination clinics at Gracedale since they first became available. The next one is scheduled for January 26th, which is right before the first deadline that's in place to have 80% of staff vaccinated by, or 80% of staff have their first shot.
Does that include boosters as well?
That was my
No,
question.
it does not.
So you're not offering boosters at the
Oh,
clinic?
no, we're offering boosters, yes. I'm sorry. The requirement is not to be boosted by CMS, Center for Medicaid and Medicare. But Gracedale is absolutely offering the booster, not just to staff, but to residents as well. Yep, absolutely.
Did you have another question, Mr. Myers? Sorry.
Yes. Mr. McClure. Since we're offering the prisoners, are we offering anything to the Juvenile Justice Center? Or is that out of our realm?
Well, so work conditions are the courts, but I have invited everyone in the county, who's in the county employee, whether we have supervisory powers over them or not, to get vaccinated. And of course, they could go to our drive-through, which is free, so they can get vaccinated as well. And I'm sure the prison has clinics, and the prison clinic heretofore was J&J,
Right.
but they're moving away from J&J, and they're going, in the prison, they're now going to have Moderna clinics.
Yes.
So anybody who's in the county employee who shows up for a prison clinic can get vaccinated. That includes juvenile justice.
Just to follow up,
Sure.
do you have a rough idea how many of our county employees are vaccinated?
No,
I know we're not allowed to ask.
well, I don't know about allowed, but we have never taken a survey of our employees as to who is vaccinated and who is not. We have a good idea because so many of our employees work at Gracedale, and we know about the prison because 50% of the COs acknowledge to us in order to get the $500. But no, we don't have if I had to guess, it's probably a little higher than the general public, but not much.
So we're offering the boosters to our employees also?
Yeah.
All of our employees?
Yes. Yeah,
And they know-
any.
And they know where they can go to get it? They get emails on this?
Yeah, Ms. Cabal is frequently in contact with the employees via email about the ability to be vaccinated. And, you know, you can get an appointment at our drive-through pretty easily online and just go there. And I got in the parking lot. It was great. They shot my arm. And it was awesome. And they didn't even make me wait 15 minutes. I don't know if that's a thing anymore or not. I hopped right back. Well, I didn't die on the way back to the courthouse. I got my booster in the parking lot at the Coordinated Health on Emmerich Boulevard.
At 3100.
In your drive-through. Yes,
You get your booster.
so you have to make an appointment, but it's very easy online. It just pops up and you click on your date and time and you show up. And we're on Facebook probably, Miss Bartlett, every other day talking about it. So we try to get the word out. It's difficult, but we try.
Any other questions, comments? Mr. Cusick, would you like to move this forward for tomorrow?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second it.
Thank you.
Next, we have a donation request, or authorization to accept a donation of 5 Joy for All plush cats, 5 Ashton Drake lifelike baby dolls, and 5 Reborn lifelike baby dolls for Gracedale. It is a donation from Hovis in the value of $1,674.39.
The training,
They ask that their name, contact information not be distributed to other charitable organizations. Whatever.
what,
All right. And I don't have a,
No, they're those lifelike baby dolls.
lifelike?
And yes, if you've ever seen any, seriously, Mr. Myers, I have seen people in public and you have to like do a triple take to realize it's not a real baby. They are in fact lifelike. They are excellent for our older adults, especially folks with Alzheimer's. They are just very, Jen and her folks could talk forever about it, but they're very comforting and soothing. I have restarted my weekly rounding with one of our assistant directors of nursing, Marion, and we were rounding on Friday, I believe it was, and I saw multiple female residents in particular at the dinner table with their baby dolls, and it's actually pretty sweet to see, so.
Madam
yes, sir.
Chair, because I read that note and saw the same note you did, not that I have anything, I think we need to honor their request.
I agree. She said this isn't the resolution, so I guess it'll say from an anonymous donor.
Anonymous source, it's the only way we can do it. Because they don't want it out there, I think that's the only way to fly. That's outstanding. So make sure Hovis don't show up.
Okay, motion to move forward?
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Article 13 contracts. The first is Industrial Communications Company in the amount of $1,957,736.46 over 5 years for radio frequency infrastructure and radio maintenance services.
This is the vendor who is we have a Harris radio system for our county's dispatch. This is the vendor who takes care of our 500 megahertz radio system, which includes not just the radio, the towers, the generators, the air conditioning for those rooms, point to point, so that we maintain our integrity there. They are the Harris authorized vendor for this region.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dertinger,
Yes.
are we amply supplied with 911 operators at our call center? Are we down, up, down?
We are, like everything else, a bit down at this point. We have recently brought on, I want to say we have 6 in training presently, and we are at 53, counting our trainees, 53 of 64.
53 or 64. All right, I will be reaching out to you to make my annual trek soon. So beware, I'm coming, all right?
Any other questions, sir?
Yeah, I have a question that's not specifically related to this, but lately we've heard a lot of talk about 5G and its effects on some of these existing networks. Is that an issue here in our comm center at all?
It has not been found to be an issue at all.
Okay. Just wanted to assure, yeah, I know at
Yeah,
the
no,
airport it
yeah,
is.
to that extent, our 500 megahertz is an older system, so we're kind of under the concern there.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to get that out there.
We are good for our,
And if no other questions, can I have a motion to move forward,
Motion to
please?
move it forward.
Thank you. Next, Vision Technologies, a contract for computer hardware in the amount of $101,944.51 to replace hardware and software for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families.
This is the mass replacement for their laptops and tablets. They're usually these run-of-the-mill expenses don't come before county council, but because it is over $100,000, it becomes an Article 13 contract.
We're replacing them, is that what you're telling me?
Right, this is part of their refresh, and there are lots of computers over there in children and youth. I'm not exactly sure. Yes, that's the Surface Pro 8s, but there are also,
Accessories got 11
yes.
HP ProBooks, 450 laptop replacement.
Yeah, that's not an accessory,
Is that going to be
that's a laptop by itself.
enough with the personnel they have out there?
So this is part of the Refresh program. We spend a lot more than that at Children and Youth, but because this is a bulk buy, we're getting all the hardware at one time, and it was over $100,000. The law requires us to come before county council to get your approval of the contract.
Is it enough? Is my question.
Yes, Mr. Myers, I can answer that. Yes, it is. The great thing about buying computers and electronic equipment for CYF is that we have an IT grant from the state that we get year after year. So that is funded fully as opposed to how we do it the rest of the county. So they are on their, whatever their refresh is, they get it, and there is funding from the state for it.
So we're getting this money back.
I'm not sure if it's a pass-through first or if it's reimbursement, but the IT grant covers the cost of computer equipment for CYF. CYF, just CYF, not all of DHS. Thank you.
Just Children and Youth doesn't do anything for elderly.
Oh, is that a question, sir?
Yes, the question.
Who's, y-
It's the CYF grant for these specific computers. We do have tablet programs that are run by the Area Agency on Aging that we purchased tablets for Vision Technologies when the senior centers weren't open. So there are a lot of technology opportunities for seniors. It's not part of what we're doing here, though, today.
Make sure that all the grants is out there for that too. Am I wrong with that?
Mr. Giovanni?
Steve, is there an ETA for this hardware?
What's that?
ETA for delivery.
So some of it will come quickly, i.e. like the docks and things like that. Surface Pros right now, last I checked, we're 3 or 4 months out. That's why it was important to get it in front of you today to get the order in. So as they come in, we are actually, we're purchasing these under the grant, and then they're going to be deployed quickly. I told Bob they have to get out when they're available so we don't have people out in the field with technology that is no longer usable.
No problem.
What are the docks? Are they like the kind we used to have where you had to slide it into
Docks?
something, or?
No.
The Surface Pro docking stations are no longer like the drop-in anymore. With USB-C compatibility, the docks now are like a block that sits on your desk, and you can plug in peripherals, and everything runs through the USB-C hub, I guess is the best way to call it, Mr. Giovanni.
That's correct.
And with Surface Pros, the hubs are great because I can use that hub with my Surface Pro, my MacBook Pro, anything that has USB-C.
Right. It's universal, just about.
Any other questions? Motion to move forward?
So moved.
Last, we have Weber Gallagher.
Yes, Ms. Harudis, who unfortunately is not with us today, will be here tomorrow night if you have any questions about this. But I think I was not involved in the bidding process, but I think I have enough of an understanding to give council a thumbnail of what's going on. So when Mr. Lauer was on our staff, he had extensive workers' compensation experience, and he handled our workers' compensation caseload. And even for maybe one of the best attorneys who's ever practiced in law in Northampton County, it was quite an ordeal for him, because workers' compensation cases, although we don't have we don't have an extensive workers' compensation docket in litigation. They are very time consuming. You have to sit for depositions for hours, and part of the problem is with our part-time solicitors who we pay $50,000 or $60,000 to a year, it's just very difficult for them to invest the kind of time we need to invest to make sure that a workers' compensation case is handled properly. So in order to do that, Ms. Rudis went out to bid, and I believe Weber Gallagher, she chose Weber Gallagher. She said they were highly competent. And I believe they also came in the least expensive.
Did Mr. Lauer retire?
He got a job. Yes, he wound down his firm. I don't know exactly how he did that. I don't know what form it took, but he wound down his firm and he got a job with one of the larger Allentown firms, which is escaping me right now.
Hence, no longer.
I don't know if
with
it's Gross McGinley or where he's at.
How large is the outer organization?
I don't know. It's large enough to handle our caseload.
Because they're in Philadelphia, that's what I was.
Yeah, they handle a lot of cases throughout eastern Pennsylvania. I'm familiar with them from my days on that circuit many years ago.
us. So it's for 3 years, sir?
More than 20. What?
So it's for 3 years, correct?
Three-year contract.
Yes. I think it has our typical 30-day out, though. And again, we don't have a lot of workers' compensation litigation, so I don't expect that we'll see a lot of bills, but you never know. And she will be here tomorrow night to answer any other questions.
Mr. Cusick?
Yeah, with a jail and a nursing home, you never know. I guess my question, it's true. My only question is, were there any local bidders as part of the process?
No,
Okay.
no, I do not believe. Now, the business of law has changed, so everybody's everywhere, but I don't believe any firms specifically cited in the first instance in the Lehigh Valley bid.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a shame.
I'll check that, though, to make sure my answer's accurate, but none of the names jumped out at me.
Some of these firms that are in Philadelphia and New York also have offices out here now.
Yeah, they have the resources and they have the skill and they compete very aggressively.
Yeah, I saw that in a couple of things I was looking.
Yeah, I don't think we could have, irrespective of who she chose, I don't think we could have gone wrong.
Do I have a motion to move that forward?
Motion.
Thank you. Any other business for the Finance Committee? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Goodbye.